bum people out, I know. What's going on, David?
Gosh, lots going on, but let's keep it focused on this.
Yes.
But we don't derail this, within minute one.
Right.
Lots of so in my world lately, lots of transformation conversations that are IoT specific with our brothers and sisters in the world of critical infrastructure for the US, including more folks, yes, that have to retrofit roads and bridges and our ports, right, which are really important to us and our GDP. So that's been top of mind, and the beating that the S&P and NASDAQ and Coinbase and Bitcoin and Ethereum are taking.
That's brutal. Oh my gosh! Yes, my I get my little notifications from my Coinbase app, and it's just for the last, I don't know how many months, I'm going to say since maybe last November, it's just been down steadily, which is ironic because as crypto has just been collapsing since about last November, December, whatever, the number of advertisements to get into crypto, both on TV, I hear it on radio, I hear everybody coming out, put crypto in your 401k, go all in, and it's ironic that there's been such a surge in trying to get people into it as it's literally just in a free fall.
But it makes sense. They want, the guys holding the current bag want to pass that bag to somebody else.
Yes. For those of you in the financial industry, you heard the term catching a falling knife. And that's what this really is. And so don't reach out, or when you hear people say buy on the dip, what if it just keeps dipping? Yeah. Stock market is no bueno. Crypto is no bueno. All the idiots who said, oh, crypto is somehow a hedge against the broader market, or it's a store of value. It's not. I think the only thing over the years that is shown to be a hedge really maybe is gold and silver or something like that, where you see that kind of going up when other things are going down. We've seen that in past recessions. Oh, did I say the R word?
You did.
We're not in a recession, people, but sometimes it feels like, there's future indicators, obviously inflation is no bueno. And so those of you who are alive during the 1970s, the late 70s, or might remember a Fed who just to fight it. We had the highest inflation ever in this country back then, and they did whatever they could to stop it. And so we had interest rates cranked up like 15% interest rates, stuff like that, which would seem insane to people today. I think the current Fed is looking at going up to try to get to like 3. 3 would be historically a low interest rate setting, actually. But people right now, I think, especially maybe younger people, haven't seen past stuff. And so when they're like right now, people are like, oh, I'm trying to sell my house and interest rates are going up and it's going to slow down the market. People aren't going to want to afford to get a house. Because I was like, are you insane? The highest interest rates they're talking about would be still historically low, when you look over the big broad view. And I know this has nothing to do with IoT, folks, but
not even close.
Not even close. But we do talk about a lot of stuff that's not like IoT. We're trying to be like those guys over at Futurum or whatever, where we're going to be on CNBC shortly, and talking about how the stock performance of a lot of these players are.
We need to be on Mad Money.
It sure looks beautiful where Leonard is. I see a cruise ship in the background, which is pretty darn cool. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Where are you at, Leonard?
I'm here at the Intercontinental Hotel in downtown San Diego, about a block away from my condo. And nice. Yeah, that's my view that I had for 15 years. And I no longer have it. But yeah, that's a big ass cruise ship.
That is a big ass cruise ship.
Yeah, it's really big. And all I have to say is bacon is very good.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the thick, peppery honey glaze. I mean, just and it's okay if it's
just ridiculous.
It takes a year or two away from me. It's delicious.
Exactly. We're all going to be together at our combined deathbeds from the bacon. And we'll be telling each other it was worth it.
It was worth it. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And these are the moments. These are the moments that make it worth it.
Yeah.
So aren't you at a
aircraft
5G?
carrier?
Where? Oh yeah, I barely could see it.
No, it's the aircraft carrier. You see it?
Yes. I see the tower.
Yeah.
Mast.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the Midway. It's
the Midway. Where Tom Cruise was last week.
Yep. Where he was
flying his own helicopter to land on the Midway and had the red carpet. Wow. That's pretty. Wow. You know what, though? I'm going to say I applaud that. Instead of being at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, I love bringing it down to San Diego and making it real on an aircraft carrier. Go Navy.
Leonard, so what's the event that you're at? Isn't it like Fierce Wireless 5G something?
No, it's Qualcomm's 5G Summit. Yeah. So looks like we have someone joining.
Bill's joining.
Yeah.
Bill's joining. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's Qualcomm's 5G Summit. They usually have it in Hong Kong. Hey, what's up, man? They usually have it in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And because of the pandemic and the whole situation in China, I guess they decided, well, they pretty much had no option but to have it as close to Asia as possible, given that most of the OEM partners are from that region. So, it's a cool event. Huh?
I've been following Bill's TikTok, and I don't want to get COVID tested in China right now. It's
that's crazy.
It doesn't look optional either.
No, you're right. So, Leonard, you got to spend. Did you meet Cristiano?
Last week I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I hung out with him, but this week it's just more like chilling out with the other executives. Yeah.
I saw you hanging with some Lenovo guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they're really cool. Yeah. So Vishal Shah, who is the metaverse dude, really cool guy. We were trying to connect over, the last 2 years, but we couldn't because of the pandemic. But we want to try out their glasses and what they're all excited about. Looks like they have some cool stuff going on. So.
I didn't know Lenovo was doing the glasses thing. Okay. All right.
Yeah. But the cool thing is that they're thinking of the whole stack, going from edge infrastructure to, the connectivity, the networking aspects, all the way into the endpoint device.
Right.
So, but I mean, they're former IBM, right?
Yeah.
They were acquired
long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah. And
in fact, that whole company
made great laptops.
They make the best laptops. I've been a ThinkPad fan since the very beginning. Yeah. I still in my computer museum, I still have arguably the most famous ThinkPad ever created. It was from the early mid-90s, I guess. It was called the 901C Butterfly. And it was the ThinkPad where you open it and the keyboard goes like that. And then when you close it, that's
I remember that.
I think that's in the Smithsonian. It's in all these computer museums. And it was revolutionary because at the time they were trying to get a smaller footprint size for a laptop while still having a full-size keyboard. And the keyboard goes like this, and they tested it opening and closing it like 1 million times to make sure it wouldn't break down.
Oh my God. Yeah, you remember those? Those things were crazy. They were so small. And they had like a 4-inch screen. It was like, and I tried to go, what were they called? They were mini portables or mini micro laptops, right? Weren't they micro?
I don't know about this. No, I know it. I don't know what, but the 901 was just a normal ThinkPad, but it was back when the screens were huge and they were trying to get closer to what we have today. I guess they're most successful. I think and I'm just sounding like a fanboy for previously IBM and now Lenovo, but I think the ThinkPad for decades has been kind of the gold standard for business laptops. And a lot of that has to do with the keyboard, actually, because it takes you back. It is the original, that feel of that IBM keyboard that no one else has been able to replicate. And it's such a great feeling.
And then you get the little red dot for the mouse that you can move with one finger.
The nubbin.
Yes. And I'm one of those people. I'm a red dot nub person. And I know that I'm in I thought I was in a small club because everybody finally went to just trackpads, but I'm part of that club. And I know there's a lot of people like me. Yeah. I'm not alone in this. Because obviously they sell the hell out of these ThinkPads. The ThinkPad X1 Carbon is kind of like their premier device that they've been selling to business users forever. And what I love about the little nub as I'm moving my mouse around the screen right now is that you don't have to take your hand off the keyboard to move your mouse around. You can keep your hand on the keyboard and you have a finger on the nub, and so it's pretty nice that way. So I did.
Not many people did that. So in that front, not many people are that sophisticated where they can keep their finger on the nub and keep their finger on the keys and their eyes on the screen.
Right. But as I replied to one of your guys, and he had mentioned, I literally just got in the mail yesterday. We'll do a product review now. So the X1, the ThinkPad X1 Nano, which was something they introduced a couple of years ago, it's even smaller version of their high-end. The X1 is 14 inches. This is 13 inches. I'm carrying this thing. It's almost weightless. It's like, I guess it's right at 2 pounds. It's 13 inch, and it's got the new 12th generation Intel Core processor,
really?
which I have 20 cores on this thing. Yeah, you may have read, not long, like remember we did a coffee talk where we were talking about the new ARM processors from Apple were mind-bogglingly fast in the MacBook Pros. But not long after that, people started doing reviews, maybe 6 months later, of the 12th gen Intel stuff, where they kind of are on board with having like lower power cores and high power cores and lots of doing different tasks, just like the ARM stuff. Anyway, I have one. And so when you bring up the task manager, I see 20 cores, not all, some are high power and some are low power, doing different tasks. It's pretty crazy. Who knew? But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I've got a 32 gig of RAM, terabyte SSD, DDR5 RAM this time.
Wow.
So this thing is a rocket ship. It's tiny. This laptop is just tiny and lightweight. It's like, like Leonard, how when we used to go to Barcelona, and after a while you were like, I can get by with just my iPad, for going on the road. I feel like this is just taking an iPad almost. It's so small, so lightweight.
Yeah.
So you triggered me to think of the opposite of a fast computer. So the first notebook that compact, and we launched this thing with LTE freaking 1,000 years ago. And I'm looking at the specs, Windows 7, clocking at 1.6 gig with an Intel Atom processor and 1 gig of memory. But now we didn't have designers and professional people, knocking at work with this notebook, but we treated it like a mobile device. So if you wanted to take this thing on installments, all of a sudden you can have a decent machine to browse and email for super, super cheap. And we sold a ton of those with embedded LTE back in the day.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I have one. I still have one in the. Now I'm like, look and make sure my wife didn't hear that I have something that's old, because then it's got to go.
That's, well, to tie that in with Leonard at the Qualcomm event, I remember, I don't know, a couple of years ago, when I was at Ericsson and meeting with, I forgot the Qualcomm exec I was meeting with in our Santa Clara office, but his talk, we talked, obviously Ericsson was all about 5G, of course, and Qualcomm's all about 5G, shocker. And their big push was 5G laptops. Like, we really got to make that mainstream. We really, really, we've had the discussion where Intel back like at 2000, 2001, early 2000 timeframe, they really helped accelerate the mobility of laptops by, do you remember a CPU they came out with called Centrino?
Yes.
And basically it was a marketing name for their processor for laptops, but it also meant that they built in Wi-Fi. And I know today we don't think much of that, but if you go back in time, you used to have to buy separate Wi-Fi modules and stuff to put into laptops, and you had different drivers and different brands.
Kids, do you remember what a PCMCIA port is?
Yes.
And having to remove a piece of plastic from the computer and inserting said card and hoping that the drivers were in there. If not, you open the CD-ROM and you locally install the driver, and then you had an app to launch your connectivity. And the coolest thing, props to Sierra Wireless, was when you got to pop that antenna at the coffee shop. Ooh, I'm on the web, baby.
That was awesome. Welcome to the internet.
Yes.
Wow. You were in the metaverse.
Well, but I'll vouch for cellular on, like a tablet or a laptop, because, I mean, honestly, when I was at NAB show, geez, I wish I had 5G. The LTE was completely struggling, and there was so many competing devices, and the Wi-Fi just completely sucked. It was horrible. I couldn't get anything done, and so as an analyst, you're trying to tweet things out and share stuff, maybe even produce some content, post videos on YouTube, whatever. It was really, really hard to do that. And so to be able to have like that bandwidth, I mean, for the longest time, a lot of people have been going, well, who gives a crap, but, I've had cellular on my devices for a really long time. My original cellular plan was with my original, what was it? 3G. Yeah, 3G iPad. And man, I loved it. Unlimited data.
Yeah.
And I had that plan for about 10 years. And it was great. And they upgraded me to LTE for free. And, I think, don't knock it until you try it, especially for business travelers, like us. We travel a lot. We do. And, I think most of us rely on, if we have a laptop, we just rely on Wi-Fi, right? We just try to find the free, unsecure Wi-Fi access. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. And then share that crap with 1,000 other people in the same square kilometer or square 100 meters. It is a pain in the butt. I mean, it's not a situation that everyone gets into, right? So you can't sit there and say, well, everybody needs it, but there's a certain type of business person that is going to find it immensely useful. And so don't knock it until you try it, especially if you do, the kind of stuff that a lot of us do, which is travel through business.
It sounds, Leonard, it sounds like I thought you were going to make a pitch there for network slicing for a second.
Oh, I don't want to hear that word again.
No, Bill, let's keep it at the technical premise of being able to use a public resource, a finite resource full of spectrum and radio waves in a specific area where I have Leonard, who will be a willing and paying customer. And if on the back end, I had orchestration and automation, and I could make a quick buck, and I could tell Leonard, hey, I'll give you your own little highway here for the next couple of hours.
Or even the exhibitors. The exhibitors, they'll pay, right?
But
and
tell
a lot
us,
of them
Bill,
have demos.
What lies have you been fed, brother? Because I seem to have triggered you, and that was not my intention.
No, it's just okay. The theoretic technical capability that you just spoke of. Yes, it makes sense, but to me, it's the same thing as community energy storage, where there's the notion of having solar in your whole community, and you're going to sell, some electricity or some bit of electricity because you got enough storage that's sitting at your residence to your neighbors, and it's all going to be kept within the confines of that community. It's the same thing, except it's just in the telecom space. And community energy storage has been talked about for the past 15 years. And is it close? Yeah, there's some things that they're trying to do, but it's not there yet. And so the notion of network slicing, while I think it's great, we probably won't see that until like 15G.
Well, according to GSMA, so go kick the regulators, if you would. Leonard, isn't it? It was released 17. And then there were some updates for 18.
16, 16
the technical release of a capability does not institute the functional delivery of that.
Well, when people say that there's no networks, well, there's different grades of network slicing, right? And, you can have it at the access, network, and then you have end to end, right? So
is someone
standalone 5G core?
Where you are, Leonard?
There's a child next to you.
Somebody's just pounding.
That's Leonard stirring his coffee.
Yeah, that means the sessions have started. So go and get your finish your crap and get out of here. It's basically what that clanging spoon means. Yeah, pretty annoying, right?
Very annoying.
That's notification. That's notification of network slicing.
That is. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that we're here on Digital Coffee Talk, where we don't really talk about IoT all the time. But luckily, the term digital is broad enough that it covers like any geeky thing we might talk about.
Yeah, I think we should call ourselves Quantum. How about Quantum?
Nice.
Just cut to the chase. Screw all this digital
I'm holding
crap.
my breath.
And we should grab, like a stock photo of that, super quantum machine, perfectly lit in the center of a big data center, just with like, and it looks like there's like copper bits coming out of it, and then people will be like, oh wow, these guys get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Does anybody remember? I'm gonna say 2016, 17 timeframe. HP had commercials on TV for something called The Machine, and they even used Star Trek music and had all this stuff. And then I think they never launched it, but it was supposed to be the ultimate supercomputer ever for enterprise. And it was them also, trying to make sure that they were relevant as they lost out to the hyperscalers in the hyperscale cloud sweepstakes. But don't feel bad. Look at you, avocado toast. You're Gen Z.
Wow.
Oh my God. Wow.
My idea of a supercomputer in 2016 was a $3,000 Alienware rig. Now that had juice.
Alienware for the win, for sure.
All day.
Yes. I
know Bill used to play this game. Counter-Strike.
Yep.
Now, that the only time in my life I can claim dexterity on a keyboard and a mouse was Counter-Strike.
Love it.
Dude,
awesome.
Look, you are so right. I firmly believe that the difference between someone that is a visionary and someone that is an innovator, and there is a difference. There's absolutely a difference, is whether or not you played the old school video games The old school video games, man. I mean, you had to figure out the Easter eggs.
Yeah,
you had to figure those out.
There were no guides.
No.
But Nintendo capitalized on that because they had the Nintendo Power magazine. And
That's right.
Right. And they would have like 1 or 2 games where they would actually,
do a walkthrough.
Yes. And that was the origination of the walkthrough guides. Yep. I know somewhere, again, looking, I have a walkthrough guide for Resident Evil.
Yeah. You had to have that. That game was so dope, man. I love that.
It was.
I mean, you wouldn't think that I was playing games or anything at all. You just
yes, Bill. Up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. 30 lives.
That's right.
Oh my God.
That's right. 8-bit, baby. 8 bits of magic.
8 bits of magic.
Right there.
So
now that's the difference between innovators and visionaries, those that have been to the past and can see the future.
We've been to the past. You know how I got to the past recently is I hopped into this hot tub time machine and it took me back to 1986 and it was pretty cool.
That's why I say this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I did recently.
We should do the video game episode. We can talk about Super Famicom. We can talk about Atari. We can talk about there was the PlayStation before it was called the PlayStation. It was
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. And then we can make a jump into laser discs. Hey, I don't know how you guys watch your stuff in junior high, but they would roll in the laser disc machine with a TV. And this was incredible.
I just recently got rid of all my laser discs.
Wow. That's some great stuff. I mean, Pioneer Laserdisc, they thought they were going to be that they were going to win. That was going to be how we'd watch digital movies and stuff like that. As I probably mentioned before, when I was finishing my college degree on the submarine in the Navy, they actually delivered courses to us underway with Pioneer Laserdiscs, where the professor had recorded lectures and stuff on a Laserdisc. So that tells you how old I am. But it seems so futuristic.
Oh
yeah. And they were really expensive. They were like $100 back then, a disc.
And it was the size of a record album, you know?
Yeah. They were super expensive, and it was like what, standard definition?
It was video vinyl.
Super expensive.
Pretty awesome stuff. Absolutely. So, Bill, what is going on in your world? What's the latest with you? You're on the bleeding edge, doing smart cities and all kinds of stuff.
You know, so it actually is. I mean, I was joking about it, you know, in terms of the network slicing and everything like that. But it really is on the notion of energy. Net zero, decarbonization. You know, this next infrastructure run that we're going to have is going to be so big. And so as far as fleet electrification goes, that's probably the thing that's probably got the most of my attention right now in terms of how are we going to do this? You know, you hear it from the cities and from the Fed Gov that, you know, we want to get to net zero by 2030, 2040, 2050. You know, decarbonization is the thing. Well, you're not going to have that if you're continually putting up transformers that are using fossil fuels to power these EVs. You've got to get to the point of having your infrastructure upgraded, your distributed energy resources contributing in a meaningful way to this electrification. And that's probably the main thing that's got my attention over the past few weeks and how we do that. And there are a number of players. I was a couple of weeks ago, I was chatting with the CEO of Vapor.io, and I was like, yo, I'm looking at what he's doing. I'm like, and we were kind of debating. It was, you know, he was on a panel that I was moderating, and I was like, Cole, look, you know, where is the edge? And he was like, I don't know, and nobody knows. And I was laughing. I said, you know, you're at the edge. You're at the edge.
The one thing, hear me out, Vapor.io people. The one thing they need Banksy to do art on their modular data centers, and they'll sell like hotcakes. Like now you can have art and a modular edge kit from Vapor.
I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
So I was talking to him, and so Rob, you'll get this. I was talking to him about literally putting a web agent on each one of his edge, the distributed data centers, if you will, right? On each Vapor unit, I wanted to put, web agents to build digital twins. And from there, just continue just the layers of that. I think there's something there, but yeah, no, the fleet electrification, if you look at it, it's a big deal. And I predicted it in January. I'm saying it again, that you're going to start to see a huge consolidation of this space from the players that are doing, charging management, from the players that are doing the real estate piece of it, everything like that. It's and it's going to become a race to completion between those that are 100% DER and those that are on the utility side of it. Those two sides, they need to come together, but I don't think they will anytime soon. So you're going to see companies like today, Schneider announced that they acquired AutoGrid. That's a big deal. And you can see where ABB has made acquisitions on charging management. Ford made acquisitions on charging management. I mean, it's just, I'm watching this space and I'm loving it.
That's awesome, dude. To be a devil's advocate, I've been reading some news lately, like very recently, about electricity shortages in California this summer.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody was blaming all the electric cars.
Well, you know what, though? You know what? All right. So I'm not going to say that they're wrong, but I'm not going to say that they're right. That's the point of it, right? Is there's a difference, a delineation between residential charging versus fleet charging. So if you see these cities migrating over saying that we're going to turn all of our buses into EVs, then you're like, now that does become something to consider when all these EVs want to charge.
Yeah.
So you need to have a schedule by which they can charge based on the routes that they're going to run the next day. So there's a level of forecasting, there's a level of utilization.
Bobby, hold on. I don't want to hear this, because if my little town here in California is going to do a fleet of public buses, EVs, great. And if I was to charge my little EV, which I don't have one yet, but I don't want to hear that because some big commercial company is sucking up all the power, that's going to affect me and public transportation. How about you grid people upgrade the big substations so that the big industrial company can have what they want, and us little people, we can get our EV little bus. How about it, Bill?
No, I'm with you. I think that there are several paths to completion here. On the residential side, anyone that says that they have solar, I'm telling them right off the bat, go get storage. Don't just settle on I've got. Yeah, go get storage. If you get storage, you'll never have to worry about plugging in your EV. Never. Now,
and by storage, are you meaning a store of electricity, like big ass battery?
Yeah. So I mean, like, Tesla Powerwall, Generac system, something along those lines. And make sure that when you get solar, make sure you're focused on bi-directional. Get a hybrid inverter. Because ironically, people think solar and they think that it's all the same. Well, in California, you have net metering. You don't have net metering in Texas. There is no net metering.
You also don't have electricity in Texas. Too easy, Bill.
So I mean, well, there's oil and gas out here.
You got oil and gas, baby. Woo! Drill, baby, drill.
But you need to there's some orchestration and coordination between microgrids and the functional grid, right? You need that. because if you have a fleet of vehicles that are charging, it doesn't. How do you know that that vehicle is disconnected when it's fully charged? Unless you have some level of coordination between the charging unit, between the EV and the fleet owner, you're gonna have this wasted stuff, the trickle charging and everything like that. So you have to have intelligent batteries, all of this stuff. It's a huge thing as far as I'm concerned. It is probably the biggest.
We finally got to the IoT bit of IoT Coffee Talk right there, right? You sense, you actuate, you disconnect. No ghost power. Solved.
That's it.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I think we've talked about this before, but when you brought up Vapor IO and now we're talking about storing energy, I remember pitching the idea internally at Ericsson. It didn't go anywhere, but just using all those unused shipping containers, kind of like Vapor IO is doing, and just packing them full of lithium-ion batteries, like the community battery store of energy, like 1 million power walls or whatever. Is that a thing? Does that make sense?
There's a company.
If you deploy them very close to the fire station, you're saying, like I need to, when you buy a house and you have to tell insurance how close the fire hydrant is and the fire station, it's got to be triangulated just in case.
Well, there's a company by the name of ESS that is just that. They use shipping containers. And according to if you look at their website, it's Clean Battery Solutions.
That's what I would say on my website too, if I was doing that.
Wouldn't you?
And by clean, I scrubbed it. I mean, like you can go like this with a white glove, no dust. It is clean.
It is clean.
Might be on fire, but it's clean. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's clean fire.
Clean fire. Yeah, all that makes so much sense to me, having stores of energy like that all over the place to equalize the grid. And I don't know.
Well, I mean, think about that, right? Because I mean, it's very interesting. The energy was meant to go in one direction. It was not, the grid was not designed to, give me that energy back. I know what to do with it. And so, I mean, to all the people that are, we've had conversations and we have these healthy debates about putting energy back on the grid. It's not happening the way that you think it is. You're not sending energy back to the substation. The best that you're going to do is potentially deliver, energy to your neighbors or something of that nature. Right. Yeah. Because it'll wreak havoc in terms of sags and swells and everything like that happens anywhere from across your lateral going back to the substation and how they're actually operating.
I definitely remember a lot of companies diving into the microgrid space, 2015, whatever, and then it just didn't happen. Or, I mean, I don't know. There was a lot of hype around microgrids. And they were doing it in Germany. We can do it here. But I don't know what's going on.
It's coming back. I think that what happens is tech leads before the problems follow. That's kind of the way that I see it.
Are you saying that tech has a solution waiting for a problem?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, tech kind of looks at things that way, right? I mean,
is that like most of the startups pitching VCs? We've got this awesome solution that me and my buddy in a garage thought of. We're not really sure what the problem is, but it's really cool.
Yeah. No, and you make up use cases. You think of these problems that you're going to solve.
You invent problems. Yes.
Right.
Oh my God. The problem the problem is that no one asks the would-be person or people affected by the problem if they think it's a friggin' problem.
Well, no, because I mean, if you want to follow some of the thought leaders in terms of how they create their businesses, and I mean, Apple might be one of them. They don't go and ask anyone. They tell you, here's your answer.
Yeah.
But
You'll never find product market fit if you go around and you just canvas and listen to the voice of those that have not recognized that they have a problem.
Yeah.
Wow,
that goes back to what you were saying. Yeah.
Well,
the Steve Jobs view of the world and the Amazon view of the world. One's customer obsessed. We do whatever the customer says. And Steve Jobs says the customers are freaking idiots and they don't know what they want.
When Apple launched that campaign for the green iPhone, poor Steve Jobs just rolled in his crypt all day.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what it comes down to. We launch a new color and there's a campaign about it just for the color.
Yeah.
Right.
That was pretty ridiculous.
Like
green.
If Steve had been put in some sort of like cryogenic chamber, he would have been out by now, but he's not.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think.
So, apropos, that book came out last week about Apple selling its soul. Did you read about this? The book just launched, and I read an article about it. It's all about Johnny Ive, actually, and then Tim Cook, and kind of basically how Johnny Ive's the soul of the company during and after Steve Jobs. And then the whole book is, I forgot the title of it, but it's like Apple is a multi-trillion-dollar company that's completely sold its soul. And it's because Johnny's not there anymore, because after a while, more and more friction between him and Tim Cook, even though it didn't seem apparent, everybody knows the story. Obviously, when Steve Jobs returned to save the company, he got Johnny to build the iMac with the color bubbly stuff. And then they built the iPod and the iPhone and all these beautiful designs. And it was all about design, right? That's what Apple was about. And it talked about the launch of the Apple Watch. Johnny wanted the launch to be, I forgot whatever, it was community college or some college, maybe around Cupertino or whatever, outside, having all this whole fashion deal. He was just all about he had Tim Cook and all the Apple tech people saying, we need to talk about all the capabilities of this new Apple Watch and how it can do your steps and heart rate and all that. And Johnny was like, no, we're not going to talk about any of that stuff. It's fashion. Fashion is what lasts. We're going to talk about fashion, and we're going to have an event that looks like you're in Paris at a Chanel event. And there was just this whole thing. And Johnny just had a different view of the world than some of the other guys. And now he doesn't work there anymore.
It's called After Steve, and I'm gonna put that on my Audible queue.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting.
Curious.
I'm going to have to put that on my Audible queue too, now that I think about it.
Yeah. And now they've gone kind of retro clunky with the Pro models, They don't look as elegant as they did before. You know what I'm saying? The MacBook Pros.
But people were happy that they actually have SD card slots again.
Yeah.
I know
what's old is new. What's old is new.
Yeah. But the thing that they've done pretty well is they've created the Pro category, and you still have a lot of these people who review stuff. Oh, Apple's so expensive. It's like, yeah, but you're reviewing a product that's not designed for you. It's not priced for you. This is a Pro product. And, they've done that with the smartphone. They've done that with pretty much every single category you can think of in electronics. And yeah.
There you go. Yeah. After Steve. All right. I'll definitely listen to that. How Apple became a $1 trillion company and lost its soul. Boy, if that's not clickbait, I don't know what is.
No, but look, let me, it's a single sentence, quote, in the wake of his close collaborator's death, the chief designer, so Ive, wrestled with grief and initially threw himself into his work designing the new Apple headquarters and the watch before losing his motivation in a company increasingly devoted more to margins than to inspiration. No, I'm gonna listen to this thing today.
Yeah. One of the articles I read, it was basically him making a comment, the accountants took over. How many companies do we know where there's a history like that, where it was started by brilliant engineers and there was magic, and then the bean counters took over.
I'll tell you as soon as we stop recording.
I'll tell you this, that it's the number one reason why, at least for me, why any startup that I talked to and I asked, what's your exit plan? And they said IPO, I was out. I'm out because you lose sight of what actually gets you to that, that aha moment where everyone's like, oh, wow, I see what you guys are capable of.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that IPOs are bad or anything like that. I'm just saying they're extremely painful.
So what you're saying, Bill, is that you're a SPAC guy then?
No, I'm saying that I'm an acquisition guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm an acquisition guy.
SPACs are out.
SPACs are, you know what? SPACs. Never mind. I'm not going to. I won't say it.
And Bill, what is the failure rate, though, of acquisitions? Isn't it north of 80, 90%?
Absolutely.
I mean, acquisitions go bad almost every time.
They do. But, the thing about it is that, you can't lose your way, right? And this goes back to the notion of vision versus innovation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm of the mindset that they are, you need both. And so you have a person that provides the vision. Then you have the innovator that takes that vision and turns it into something.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I think they're almost diametrically opposed when it comes to the outside world and what your investors are looking at.
Right.
And I've seen this several times with a number of startups. Absolutely. But, the ones that actually worked, the ones that actually, got out of it. And I was a part of an IPO and I was part of an accretive acquisition. And I've seen them both go. So I just think that you can't, to that point, you can't sell your soul.
Right.
You really can't. I mean, you look at how many companies have just had hundreds of millions of dollars, and yet they're nowhere near in the black.
Right. Yeah.
And continue to get rounds, double D and double F, and just continue to keep getting rounds because the vision, someone's driving that vision and they're saying, we're going to get there.
Actually, this is the first time I've heard of, kind of a series double D.
Yeah, there you go.
In the VC community, some people might be into that. You never know.
Yeah, hey, watch. They'll just won't announce it.
What's the equity at that point, though? I mean,
yeah. Well,
that's not something like I can invest in with my $300. Around. I'm like, I'll go in. I mean, $300.
I mean, you can probably get some good crypto for that.
Let me pet my Shiba dog over here.
Oh yeah, don't tell me my Shiba is not good. Let me. Where's my Coinbase app here?
Don't look at it, Rob.
Let's just have a moment of sorrow here. Here's the Coinbase.
Oh, and it's steadily dropping.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh my God, what a free fall.
I just saw that, man. And it was literally
crazy.
You put it up, it said 134, and then it just went to 121.
Yes, this is insane. Oh my God. I love all these people. Gosh.
Hey, Doge
a joke.
Buy the dip.
No.
I mean, look at this. This is Bitcoin.
It's a joke.
Like a 1-year chart.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And remember when they were saying it's going to,
right.
They were saying it's going to go to
100,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last year.
Right.
That's these people that get on these shows and talk that crap. It's exactly, what Michael Milken was saying last week. It's irresponsible. It's straight up irresponsible. You do not do that. If you don't know, you don't do some sort of, disclaimer that, I'm just kind of guessing, but no, just shut the friggin' hell up. You don't know. And, you know, people out there listening, if you ever hear people pull that shit, don't ever believe them again. They should lose credibility. You know, it's just ridiculous. It's silly, and you're going to lose money. You know, listening to people who sit there and basically are really kind of rigging the market to their advantage. You know, a lot of the guys who are making these projections, they're actually people who own exchanges, you know, crypto exchanges. It's like, who are all the crypto billionaires? A lot of them, they're either these like shadow dudes that initially invested in, right? And then, and then they're the exchange guys. They're the billionaires. Of course, they're going to sit there and say that this thing is going up to 1 million. You know, it's like, come on, guys, wake up. This is like really, really simple stuff.
It's the greatest Ponzi scheme
never
discovered.
To figure out. Yeah, it's not hard to figure out, people.
You know, Bernie Madoff, as he's like cooking in a cauldron in the depths of hell, he's like, man, I could have just waited a couple of more years. You know, like, man, these kids are smart.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing. This is at least from the folks that I've talked to that have done it. And I mean, I've approached it 100% from a technical perspective. And I'm like, the whole idea of it just technically did not make sense to me. So I was like, nope, for those reasons, I'm out. But I've talked to, right. And I've talked to people and when they get in and they go, okay, well, it's falling. And people tell them, don't get out. Buy in again. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the equivalent of bringing crack in and people getting hooked. It's the equivalent. Somebody needs to stage an intervention.
Not that different. Oh yeah. It's happening now, you know? Hey guys, I got a jet.
All right. No worries, man. All right. Have a great conference.
I think this is the first time ever. Yeah, I have too many people walking by, like waving at me and shit.
They're waving at you. They want the love. They want to hug you. They want to talk to you. Exactly. They know you're the guy. Yeah.
I have to record a thingy. So
you have to record a thingy.
I'll see you guys. All right.
All right.
Thingy.
Adios, muchacho.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Awesome.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah. So if you've made it this far, thank you for listening to another IoT Coffee Talk. And if you caught Leonard's buffering there, I like to close with a great innovation that we enjoyed in the mid-90s, and that it was anti-skip technology for your CD-ROM, for your Walkman, okay, with the CDs. And that was a problem that was solved. And when they solved that problem, sales just continued to rise in the mid-90s for CD players. So thank you for listening to IoT Coffee Talk. If you haven't done it already, please like, share, subscribe. www.iotcoffeetalk.com will bring you to this YouTube thing that you've heard of before. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the three of us here and Leonard, who just bailed, thank you. Stay safe. And when in doubt, IoT.